Well, good afternoon or good evening if you're in the beautiful USA, and if you are overseas, then it's late at night, or super Saturday morning if you're in far Asia. Anyway, I am Bruce, aka the guy in the blue shirt, as I've been known here on LinkedIn, and my method is simpler, faster, better. And I am so delighted to introduce Miss Miriam Wexler, and we've been having some fun offline already, and so. Miriam, just tell us where you're sitting in from and what we're going to talk about.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. I'm Miriam. I am sitting on the couch in my living room in today's beautiful Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I'm so excited because we're going to be talking about transformation, personal growth, life changes, and anything else that comes up.
And and I loved in your commentary anything else in between that might come up. So as we were talking offline, I was talking about Dr. Nupi, and she's already in the comments. So I appreciate my, as I told you, she's my star sister without going into too much detail. But super appreciative for her because it's almost midnight over there in the UK. And I know she's been on calls all day, so I spoke to her earlier, so it was fun. So Miriam, obviously transformations or transformation or transportation, which is a play on words because you can talk about your move if you want to. So talk to me a little bit about what transformation means to you, because that word is a pretty interesting word depending on who you are and where you are in your life, right?
So it's funny because I think the common definition that people have of transformation, which is logical, is a dramatic change. And when people think transformation, most people think, oh, it's like you do one thing and then boom, you're transformed. But to me, transformation is the result of growth, right? So you don't lose 20 pounds overnight. You don't grow a pixie cut out overnight. You don't do anything overnight. There's no such thing as overnight success. So to me, transformation is doing all this work over a long period of time until you wake up one morning and be like, oh, wow. Look at my business. Look at my life. Look, it's other people looking at you going, wow, look how much you've done. Look how much you've changed. Look what impact you made. That's the transformation. It's not the drastic change, is the continuous growth and learning and evolving. So you take yourself from one area, aspect, or way to live to a completely different way to do so. So that's what it means to me.
Yeah, and it's funny because we were talking behind the scenes about it's that incremental, day by day, hour by hour, sometimes internal work that a lot of people don't even see because they don't know. They've got their own thing going on. And yeah, it's that incremental and being prepared, as we talked about before, being prepared to take massive action. And so that's not for everybody, right? So
no, it isn't. And the thing is, and this is what, I just spoke to someone today and she was saying, I meditate and I visualize and I journal, but like I don't seem to be manifesting. And I said to her, okay, what are you doing? She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, what action are you taking other than journaling and meditating? Like, you want to earn more money. What are you doing to earn more money? And she's like, well, what do you mean? I said, visualization and manifesting without action is just wishful thinking. It's daydreaming.
right.
It's sitting there every day going, I wish I was rich. And that's lovely. And you can keep doing that if it makes you feel good. But until you actually start that business, get a different job, apply for that promotion, you're not going to get rich because money is not going to fall out of the sky. You have to take massive action, inspired action to get what you want, right? It's like that, I think, with anything in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because Dr. Nupi's in the comments, so thank you. We were actually having that almost exact conversation around, there's a lot of wishful thinkers that want to be before they do, and they get it the wrong way around. They see, and it's very easy to fall into that trap of wanting to be something but you have to do the work. You have to do before you can be, and not be before you do, you know. And some people get it the wrong way around. And yeah, it's that's where the rubber hits the road, you know, and that's that's all the stuff that most people don't see. They just see the net product of that transformative work, right?
But also, a lot of people, I think, come at life from an ego as opposed to heart. So when you're,
Oh,
what can I do to be richer? What can I do to be prettier? What can I do to be skinnier? And like, because then people will respect me, like me, want me, hire me. Like, no, no. What are you doing to feel good? What are you doing to be of service to other? How are you giving back? Like, when you're more heart-centered as opposed to ego-centered, you
oh,
accomplish things a lot further. And also, people want to help you along the way when you're doing that. So, you know, again, I'm talking about doing the work all along, because life isn't about one thing happening. It's like, all right, my job here is done. It's like, okay, great. Next project. What do I need to do? How do I need to feel? Who do I need to be? Who do I need to serve? All those questions need to be asked, right? We have to, life is work. Life is work, plain and simple.
mm-hmm. Well, maybe it's as simple as the, you know, ego begins with E before H, right? And and maybe we, you know, we get tuned into how important the alphabet is, but no, I agree, being heart centered. So maybe they should switch the E and the H around in the alphabet. And
That would be nice and convenient.
inconvenient. Well, inconvenient in some ways, but convenient in others. So yeah.
A, B, C, D, F,
Huh.
G.
Well, the you right? You could always say that.
Exactly.
You could have fun with it anyway. So based on, I know you're going through a massive transformation, and I just learned that. So you want to talk a little bit about what inspired that? Because you also talked about deliberate, inspired activity. So I did catch up that earlier from a little conversation. And so, yeah, talk to us a little bit about, you know, what's pushing you to want to go to the country of Italy.
So on June 28th, I will be getting on the plane and making my big move to Italy. And it's something that I've thought about and wanted and dreamed about and talked about and prayed on for many, 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 many years, since 2011 to be exact, when I went to Italy for
Wow.
the first time. And every year, you know, I think the universe, God, spirit, divine knows when you're not ready, because it doesn't push you or propel you. So every year I would talk about it and ask anyone in my life. Everybody knows Miriam wants to live in Italy.
Right.
And, you know, I would think about it, but not actually take any action. And then, but it's always on vision boards. It's always in my journal. I'm always talking about it. But I think I was never really ready, because I never felt a calling to actually do it. I knew in my head that it was going to happen. I didn't know when. But then I made a decision. It's going to happen by the time I'm 50. At 50, I'm moving out. And then, you know, 6 months before I turn 50, I'm like, okay, 51, I'm out. And then 52, I'm out. And then I woke up in February, this past February, and, you know, the universe makes you very, very uncomfortable when you're actually ready to make a big change. So everything starts being aggravating and annoying and all these obstacles. So I spent a few months really feeling ungrounded, feeling untethered to everything here in Toronto. And I woke up in February going, that's it, I'm done. I'm done. I've outgrown the city. It's done all it can for me. In order for me to grow and expand, I need to get the hell out. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm moving to Italy. That's
Right.
it. I've been talking about it. It's now or never. I can say, oh, it'll happen at 54, and then, or I can just do it. And that was the catalyst to this entire journey, is making that first decision. And, you know, we talked about it earlier before we went live. Life, you know, your life is always one decision away from being completely different. And I
Absolutely.
realized, in order for me to change my life, in order for me to continue to grow and to stop being stagnant, it was time to make a big change, to take a big leap of faith. And I thought, okay, it's time to move to Italy. And as soon as I made that decision, everything started becoming aligned. Like, I started shifting my energy. I started shifting my thought. I started showing up different, social media, friendships, etc. Like, I still feel disconnected to the city, which is why I'm moving, but I have an appreciation for it now. It really does, when you make a decision to change your life in a big, drastic way for the better, it feels overwhelming and scary, but it really does shift you energetically in the most beautiful way.
All right. Well, I hope you're going to get goosebumpy now, because you've made me goosebumpy several times. So this is my strategic word.
Ooh, nice.
And it's
Catalyst.
on a magic rock from Sedona. How about
See,
that?
but see, don't you feel energetically connected when you're there?
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, and that was my problem middle third quarter of last year. Is I knew that this was strategically important to me, and I was pretending that it wasn't. And more importantly, I was ignoring all the signs that it is important to me. And then the other thing that happened is, as I started to realize, oh heck, I'm giving up on really the core of who I am and how I best serve people instead of show people. And then early this year, I created a tactical word called Ignite.
Oh, I love that word. I actually, my one-on-one 90-minute calls with my clients is called Ignite.
Ah, see? So hopefully
Get you started.
Hopefully you got the goosebumps now. And we promised the audience we did not rehearse this, right?
And by the way, Dr. Aurora, I am 53.
Oh, cool. You don't look it.
53 and proud.
Yeah, 53 and proud. All right. So so we were talking also about tattoos offline. So talk a little bit about our commonality with energy tattoos as well. So I think Dr. Newbie knows I have a 3,000-year-old Peruvian energy tattoo on this shoulder with my nickname BB on it. So so talk about how that's helped in your transformation and really kind of help seal the knot that you're doing the absolute right thing for you at the right time to go to Italy. So,
you know what it is, how I knew it was the right time? Because first of all, the decision made me feel lighter. Now, when
cool.
you're about to make a change, and I just had this question pop up today, is it normal to feel sad, insecure, scared, and anxious right before you're about to have a breakthrough? Yes. It's 100% normal. And it's funny, my brother was just here. My brother lives in South Korea with his wife, and he was just here. And we walked around, and we were talking about stuff. The next day, he went back after being here for 12 days. And I took the dog for a walk, and I became so overwhelmed with a feeling of sadness. And I thought, okay, just have a good cry. So I did. I walked and I cried, and I came home and I cried some more. Didn't analyze the feelings. I just knew that I was really sad. And the next day, a meme popped up that says, when you're about to undergo a big transformation and a big change, give yourself room to grieve, because you have to grieve the person you were in order to allow the person you want to be to come in. Angels sang when I heard that. I'm like, that explains it. That explains all these feelings of, excitement and happiness intermixed with sadness and anxiety and a little bit of fear. Because, it's normal to have every feeling in the world because, and I talked about it this morning on stories. Life is duality. It's okay to be happy and sad at the exact same time, like they're valid emotions and we just need to accept it. So many people immediately, what can I take? How can I numb myself to the sadness? Should I smoke? Should I drink? Should I have sex, do drugs? Whatever. No, feel your feelings, have a good cry, and then go get a tattoo, My tattoos, though, are always a symbol. When I've gone through a big change, boom, I go get a tattoo. So I guarantee you I'll get to Italy, and within a few months I'll find a tattoo artist and get my next one. It's always like that. Whenever I've had a transformation, I get a tattoo.
All right. So what we should do when you get there and get settled, I'm actually taking live guests in August timeframe. I'm already blessed to have filled up my spot. So maybe we should do a tag up in August and maybe see either the tattoo that you've done or the tattoo that you're about to do. So
I know I'm very excited to see how everything will kind of play itself out once I get going.
Right. And actually, Dr. Noopy's super supportive. But part of what I did a few weeks ago is, after I'd done a lot of this internal work, is I realized I need to do what I called some walkabouts. And the walkabouts went all the way back to my long history in the UK with being, I was brought up in a pretty underprivileged place, and it was a pretty hostile environment. So what I did is I actually took myself out with my phone, and I did some video walkabouts, and it was really interesting because there was some really deep rooted stuff as I was doing the internal work that I didn't even remember was still there. And that's the curious thing to me, and that was holding me back. And I didn't realize it was holding me back until I literally was walking with the phone, and see, I've gone goosebumps. I'm like on fire. I was walking with the phone, just talking to myself about what I remembered. And one of the walks was when I was a 5-year-old boy, and I walked myself from where we lived in this junker house, overcrowded. I was in an all-female household, so that's why I kind of jive with females pretty well. And I took my walk to my first ever primary school, and the only thing that was different was, instead of it being a muddy pathway, it had actually pavement on it. And you know what? To me, it was like, it smelt the same, it felt the same, it sounded the same. The only thing that was different was the pavement. And I did that walk, and it was like just this whole burst of negative stuff just got released. And it was so powerful, because when I walked around the other way, I was just about to talk, saying, oh, this is all the same. Well, all the birds took off. I mean, they just like, I mean, not a little bit. I mean, there were hundreds of them in these trees, and they all took off. It was almost like, as I released this kind of relief of negativity, that the birds felt it and went away.
I love that. I love that. It's funny because sometimes when we get this big burst of releasing, it
Right.
feels like, oh my God, I can tackle anything that comes my way. I'm ready for this journey now. And once you do something so amazing for yourself, like when you start the healing process and you release, you build momentum. It's like, what else can I work on now? How else can I improve my life? How else can I grow? Where else can I expand? Probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago, I met a woman in Jalapa, Mexico. She's an energy healer, and I ended up flying to San Francisco to spend a weekend with her and her husband doing some energy healing work. And it's like you're saying, stuff that you've buried. There's a lot of stuff that I've buried when it comes to my father. Like, my dad and I were like extremely close, but I had a blind spot where he was concerned, and therefore a blind spot about my mother. So this weekend just basically opened my eyes. My subconscious finally kind of purged itself a little bit, and it was such a heartbreaking yet soul opening weekend. You have to excuse me, my little friend Arthur decided to join us.
What's his name?
His name is Arthur.
Hey, Arthur.
Except when we're moving to Italy, he would like to be called Arturo.
Oh, perfect. I love it. You can stay on. It's okay.
He's right here. When you decide to release, or at least when you're becoming aware of what it is that you're holding on to that really doesn't serve you, it's almost like the minute, like you said, like it's almost a physical energy that comes out of you, hence disturbing the birds. For me, it was like I cried and cried and cried until I literally went, okay, I have nothing left. I've released it all. I've let it all go, and it's a beautiful feeling to be able to know that, oh my God, I'm moving forward with one less baggage to have to carry, It's a beautiful feeling.
Well, it's funny, again, because Dr. Noopy is helping in the comments here. We had a deep discussion about, she always talks about her fizz and what she brings. And so we came up with this, maybe what she is a physiologist. She's actually she's actually called #the glitter practitioner, because she is actually a real fully qualified practicing MD until recently. And she wears glitter. And so we were chit-chatting about, you know, what's the importance of that. And it's funny because we were drinking tea in her garden, and the association with birds I hadn't really made too much before, but then a robin came to visit us, and it was really, really amazing because I lost part of the reason I was back in the UK, as I lost my nearest and dearest sister last April, and after her cremation that I saw virtually, I had a bench, and I was still in Southern California there, and I noticed the bench was rocking, and I just peered out of the window, and there's this little robin swinging on the bench, and it stayed there for like about a minute. So it's amazing how we relate or associate to other parts of the universe sometimes. And now I realize for me, it's birds, and I don't know why it's birds, but it's birds. And
So for me, it's funny. 2 years ago, like just before the pandemic, so early 2020, I was in Bali, and I decided to do a Gabrielle Bernstein 30-day manifesting challenge.
mhm,
And one of the sessions, she was saying, right now, off the top of your head, pick a sign, any sign, and every time you're feeling lost or whatever, ask the universe to give you the sign. So I went, okay, after dolphins. I'm thinking,
so,
dolphins. Where the hell are you going to see dolphins? There's no dolphins in Bali,
right,
in that area. I'm like, you live by a lake, like dolphins. Well, you already asked for it. I wrote it down. I see dolphins all the time. I'll open Instagram. All of a sudden, there's a video of dolphins. I'll
right,
drive and there'll be a sign with a dolphin on it. I'm like, oh my God, the universe is giving me the sign that I wanted. For some reason, dolphin came to the top of my head because I do resonate with dolphins. And it's incredible how I see them all the time. So for you, it's birds. Whenever there's pivotal moments in your life, you will energetically call out probably for your sign, which is bird. So I love the
right.
association that we have. And it's a beautiful thing to be associated with nature, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's yeah, and I I do some weird stuff at times, and one of the kind of weirdest things, but is very important for me, is that whenever I can, and it's like a self reward for all the hard work I do for myself, to serve others. As you mentioned, I'm about trying to serve others. But whenever I see new mown grass, if I can, I will take my shoes and socks off if I'm wearing socks and shoes. And I will go walk in the freshly mown grass. And
Oh,
there's something about the smell. There's something about the temperature. There's something about the feel. And I don't know what it is, but
it's a grounding. It's a grounding, and then you're energetically absorbing the energy from the earth that goes all the way up to
right,
from your body, your heart, your soul, your mind, your aura. It's a beautiful thing. Grounding is such a great exercise when you're feeling overwhelmed or untethered. It's like, go find somewhere and just, if you're near a beach, put your feet in the
right.
sand, put your feet in the grass, just like experience nature firsthand. I love that.
Yeah, and actually, back to the birds and the grass, a funny thing. The first place I went to when I arrived back in England is I decided to take a couple of days, and I took the train rather than drive so that I didn't have to acclimate so quickly. And I went with a friend that I've known since 1991 or two. We're trying to figure it out, but went and did fish and chips on Hunstanton Beach, and the seagulls there are renowned for, they're very smart. They know that people don't eat all the fish and chips, and so you can tease all the birds. So I have some great videos of us throwing chips up in the air, and these birds are like, I mean, they're like hundreds of them, not just one or two. And they create this high pitched sound, and so I got some of those videos, so I'll probably post those just for fun. Just
Please do.
yeah, try and get people to laugh, and then the other thing I did observe, which was not good for the parents, is I'd done it a couple of times, and there were parents with some younger kids there. Of course, the younger kids wanted to do it. I was not popular with the parents, but
Small price to pay.
I know. But one parent was pretty bold. They said, okay. And they got their little, he was probably 5 or 6, and he threw a chip up, and he loved it. All the birds were like surrounding him, and like he was laughing and running around. It was,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, it was amazing to watch the little boy. And parents were scared to death that the seagull, because the seagulls are pretty aggressive at
Oh
times.
yeah, they're aggressive everywhere. I think it's their culture.
Scavengers. Well, they live on scavenging, and that's how they get by. They're
Mhm.
resilient, and that's what they do.
One of my favorite way to ground, aside from feet in the sand or the grass, is whenever I'm traveling, and especially like places like Italy and Greece and Israel, is if I'm going to like the major site, I like touching the stone and thinking,
Oh,
how
yeah.
many people touched this over the last 3,000 years that this has been built? When I was in Israel, we went for obvious. I'm Israeli. I was born in Israel, but every time friends come with me to Israel, I will go on a tour all over again because I
Awesome.
love the history and the culture. And I
Right.
will walk by and just touch every single wall, going, millions of people over 3,000 years touch this. And it makes me feel so connected to the history of the place and to the culture of the place and to the people. It's just like I always touch, going, I'm touching the same wall that people 1,000 years ago put their hands on here too. It's such a nice feeling.
Well, my stone touching exercise is envious for some people, but as a small boy, we used to go on field trips sometimes, and we lived, I don't know, 40 miles or so from Stonehenge. And at that time, they had not fenced off or anything. And I clearly remember being able to have a little picnic in the middle of the stones, and we could still go touch all the blue stones. And the energy in when you actually go touch the stones is unbelievable. I mean,
Hmm.
you can't explain it. So, and of course now you can't get within 100 yards of it, let alone get anywhere near the stones. But so that's something I always remember and cherish. And then the other thing, in a more industrial environment, when I work for companies to help them improve their processes, I try and get them to explain that the culture of the company lives in the fabric of the building. It's not just the people. And
Hmm.
people look at me like, you're nuts, Bruce. And it's like, but it is, you know, particularly with historic buildings or companies that have been in the same building or the same space for a long time. They don't realize that both the positive and the negative culture lives in the brick of the building.
Hmm.
And so when you're trying to transform or make changes, it's not just as easy as working on the people and the processes. You've actually got to work on the environment as well. And so what are your experiences in that, Miriam?
It's funny. I think people miss the fact that everything is energy.
Right.
Money is energy. Sex is energy. Buildings are energy. Trees, you name it, everything is energy. And there's energetic exchanges. So, you know, it's kind of like when I went to the Acropolis for the
Mhm.
first time, and it's
Right.
like you're standing there. For me, I get energetically connected to a place. Hence why every
Mhm.
time I go to Italy, I feel like I'm at home. So
Right.
you stand there and it's like I'm absorbing like thousands of years worth of energy, good and bad. When I went to Rome, I remember people saying at night sometimes you can hear what's that thing in Rome? Oh my God, I'm moving to a country and I can't remember its historical sites.
You
But
mean the Parthenon? No, that's in
no,
Greece.
oh my God, it's like
Oh,
the
in
most
the
famous
square.
structure in Rome. It'll come to me.
All
But
right.
somebody's telling me like at night you can sometimes, people have to say that they heard swords clinking
Oh,
or
yeah.
the roar of tigers, because a place absorbs the energy of its people.
Right.
And have you ever walked into a place and thought, "Oh, I don't know, this place gives me the creeps," like something of
Yeah.
how can you feel something in four walls? And when people start comprehending the concept of energy and energy exchanges, things start shifting and become different. You start actually I think, acting accordingly with the energy of the place. So it's kind of like, you go to a church, you can see, that's why in Italy, all the arias in almost every city that I go to in a church on a Sunday, they have operas and the arias of some famous arias. And that's because churches have such a powerful energy to them that I think it amplifies the music and the sound. And every time I'm getting goosebumps just thinking
Yeah,
about
me
it, because
too.
I plan on doing it in Italy this summer. I love the concept. So I think we're all energetic beings. I think we're all energetically connected to our spaces, to our countries, to the buildings that we live in. Why is it that you connect with, you buy a house or an apartment or you rent or whatever, you connect with some spaces and not others. Like some spaces, whatever, I'm here temporarily, where the other spaces, I want to decorate and I want to make it look pretty because it feels so good to be here. That's the energy of the place. And I think people need to be more aware of how Colosseum, that's what it's
That's
called.
it. Yeah, I know. I was just about to
I'm
shout
like,
it
the round building, come on. Everybody knows it but me. So yeah, I love the idea that a space can give you an energetic boost, and other spaces can give you, have you ever had the hair on the back of your neck? Other spaces can give you warnings, right?
Right.
So if you're going to be, and especially like you said in historic building, if you're a company that decides to build their offices, take into consideration the history of the place and incorporate
Yeah.
it somehow into your company's culture.
Yeah, drive it to alignment, right? Not disalignment.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's funny, and we could talk forever on this because I like to watch a lot of techno science kind of history type documentaries, and it's amazing how many buildings are actually built to resonate at certain harmonics. So, and a lot of people don't, and it's like, no, these were not just stone and chisel type cultures. They were way more advanced. How do you build a building that resonates perfectly in the harmonic of C, right? Or D, and then some buildings, as I'm sure you're aware because you have the tattoo, some of them resonate in Om, which is the fundamental vibration of all energy in a lot of different cultures. So
it's so funny because when a lot of people meditate with Om, they think Om, and it's like the reality is the Om is longer than that because the purpose of it is to cause a vibration. Om is a vibration, right? And you said something before, like, in terms of being advanced. I went to Cambodia and I went to Angkor Wat.
Oh, you've been to Angkor Wat? Oh my God.
Blew my mind. And the guy that I had said to me, if you bring a ruler and you measure the distance between this wall and this wall and then go to the other side,
it's
identical. They didn't have rulers. They didn't have, they did not have the tool. This was like Angkor Wat was built in the year 1000.
Right.
How? And so have we gone backwards or forwards? Like, you never understand because to build a structure like that back in the year 1000 is just mind-boggling that they had in the pyramids. Look at the pyramids. It's the same thing. We know they were man-made, because history shows us that they were man-made, but to build it in such a way that it's perfectly equal, that the sides are all like, it's just shocking to me how advanced we were even in the beginning of times.
Right. Well, we probably use different parts of our brains that we now don't use because we have things like smartphones and computers and all that. So yeah, to me, I think it's, the combination of using our brain in a different way, learning different techniques that, we've since gone because a lot of them weren't documented. But so nice transition to talk about transformation. What's, without obviously naming names, what's probably the most significant transformation you've helped facilitate in your career, Miriam?
There's been quite a few, some small, some big. I worked actually with a male client who I've been able to actually get him out of his own head and start to move towards a life that he wanted to have. He
Right.
actually just texted me recently, "You're not going to believe this. I got the VP job that I've been dreaming about, that you and I were working towards. I can't believe everything I've learned through you, I put into practice, and the results are coming." That was like best feeling in the entire world. You know, I have a couple of clients who literally took such massive leaps of faith because we worked on confidence and how to, for lack of a better term, get over yourself, you know, and it's like, because fear is always going to exist. You need to learn how to navigate life while being scared, as opposed to how can I avoid it? How can I go around? There is no going around fear. There's going through fear and no other way to do it. So to have a client going, "You're not going to believe this, I launched my business." Like, I love that, because one of the things that I work with people to teach, I'm not here to create a transformation for you. Your job is to create the transformation. I'm here to give you the tools to have the right mindset, to know that you're capable of doing anything and everything you set your mind to.
Right.
So to hear clients thanking me for the courage that they have. I have a client who she's in her 50s now. She decided while we were working together that she always wanted to be a model, like plus size older model, and she never had the courage. And she actually went and did her headshots and applied to agencies after our time together, because I was able to let her see for herself how unstoppable she really was. So those are my favorite kinds of ways to work with people, is to get them to look in the mirror one day and be like, "Look how far I've come," you know? And I'm like, "Yay, you win, I win," right? So it's never about me. I need to make sure because then I can look like a coach. No, I want you to win. So whatever it takes for me to do to get you to win, that's all I care about. And then to be able to see clients actually taking big action themselves, oh, best reward ever. It really is the best feeling in the world.
Right. Well, it's funny because one of my key connections here now in Tempe, Arizona, is Tisha Marie Pelletier, and we were talking about the 3x win, that exact thing last week, about, you know, what is the win all about? And it's when it's for, you know, the client, it's for us because we see the results thereafter, but more importantly, it's for all of the people that they can influence and have an impact on. So that's the 3x win, and that's so impactful, you know, and we overlook that at times. It's not just helping one person, it's that person and all of the other people that they influence, right?
Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. It's knowing that the person you helped is now impacting their immediate family. It's knowing that they're taking everything they learned, their new confidence, with their friends, with their family, with their colleagues. You know, one client never took a lunch because she was too afraid to ask for it. She thought, "Oh, they'll think that I'm lazy or whatever." I'm like, you go into your office and you tell your boss, "I need an hour for lunch every day so I don't get burnt out." You say it properly, politely, and, you know, ask, don't demand. And she contacted me the next day. She goes, "Oh my God, my boss said, of course, I didn't even realize you weren't taking lunch." To me, that's a massive win, that somebody had enough courage to do something that they've been afraid to do. You know, for me, the biggest transformation for me was learning to ask for help, having enough vulnerability to be able to say, "Okay, I'm struggling and I know you can probably help me. Can you help me with this, that, and the other?" But being okay with hearing a no. You have to be okay with hearing a no. That's the ultimate vulnerability, is putting yourself out there and being okay with rejection. But I find that 9 out of 10 times when you ask people you know for help, people will help. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and it's absolutely, and it's also having the, you know, the honorability, as it were, to pay that forward. So if somebody does help you, you know, don't forget that. And I've also had it said to me before, which is, "Well, I thought you'd never ask." Right?
100%. You know, do you remember there used to be in the variety stores back in the day, "Leave a penny, take a penny"?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what asking for help is. Get help, ask for help, give help.
Absolutely. All right. Great way to round out our wonderful transformative conversation. I don't take that lightly. We've covered a lot of ground, and I'm always absolutely fascinated that my guests and I are always more alike than we are disalike. So, so I'm actually happy that my guest selection always works pretty much on point. So good job, Miriam, and thank you for bearing
Thank you.
So what's the best way for people to reach you? Obviously, you're in end of June for probably a week or so. You're going to be in transit to Italy. So, yay.
So right here below is my website. You can find me on Instagram, just at Miriam Wexler. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere, Bruce. I am everywhere. Or you can email me at miriam@miriamwexler.me. Happy to chat with anyone who's interested.
So my response is the same as it was before. She's like great perfume. She's everywhere. All right, Miriam, thank you so much for sharing some of your nuggets and wisdom. And thanks, Dr. Nupi, for all the wonderful comments. And if you're watching this as #replay, you can always still pop your question into the comments, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. So just hang for a minute, Miriam. I'm going to do my little outtake that I do here, if I can find it. I'm rusty. Look at this. Can't even find my own stuff. All right, here we go.
So, what if your processes do not work well? Did you know you can save or eliminate massive amounts of wasted steps, time, money, or other resources? Bruce can show or teach you how. Take the next step. Visit his website at processcleanup.com and book a casual yet confidential call with Bruce. It just might change your world forever.
All right, that's me. So if you have an interest in what I do and how I serve others, then I'm pretty easy to find. LinkedIn is my major platform, so just reach me here. Best of luck, Miriam. Thank you for carving out time, because I know you're busy getting ready, and you're going to do some little video captions along the way during your move.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was such a fun conversation. And if you want to follow my journey, find me on Instagram at Miriam Wexler, because I'm going to be posting every step of the way and showing you what life in Europe could look like and what it looks like to manifest your dream life.
Absolutely. Great way to end. All right. Good night, everyone.